Good morning, Sierra Leone. Good morning to all Sierra Leoneans, those of us that are outside in the diaspora, and those that are back home in Sierra Leone. Wherever you find yourself, this is David Bongbo coming to you from Kono News Network, and I'm trying to speak to all Sierra Leoneans today. I have 4 major questions that I want to bring forward. These questions I don't claim to have the answers to, and I'm asking these questions to all Sierra Leoneans, both at home and abroad. Let us all ponder over these questions. Let us see whether we have genuine answers to these questions. And let us examine ourselves. Let us reflect on our actions, our attitudes, and try to think about plausible answers to these questions that I'm asking. The questions I'm asking are non-political, and I would want every Sierra Leonean to address these questions politically, non-politically, whichever way you think you want to answer these questions. But above all, I want us to really put our Sierra Leonean patriotic hearts and forget about partisan issues, forget about political issues, and see how best we can put our heads together to help our country. So these are the 4 questions I want to ask. 1. How do we practice genuine patriotism to help our country? Genuine patriotism. How do we actually put into practice genuine patriotism? How can you as an individual, irrespective of your political party, irrespective of your tribe or region that you come from in Sierra Leone, how can you as a person contribute to the progress of Sierra Leone? Next question, number 2. How do we restore the independence of the judiciary? Judiciary is one arm of the government. It is very, very important. And we've seen that every political party that comes in seems to control. I'm not saying that they are controlling, but they seem to control or seem to have influence over the judiciary in our country. How do we help the judiciary to be very, very much independent? That's question number 2. Question number 3 is this. How do we get the civil servants to serve the country genuinely? That's the question. Civil servants, I'm looking at everybody that is paid by the government to serve the Sierra Leoneans. How do we get them not to take bribes? How do we get them to pay allegiance to the country? How do we get them to understand that not everyone has the opportunity to have money to pay bribes? How do we get them to understand that there are people suffering in Sierra Leone and that they should serve these people honorably? That is my question number 4. Again, like I said, I do not have answers to these questions. I'm asking these questions for every Sierra Leonean who will listen to me, who will watch this video, try to find answers from their own perspective and how they think genuinely as patriotic Sierra Leoneans will be able to help to move the country forward. My last question is this. How can politicians be loyal to the country and not to their political parties? As we all know today, we have the proportional representation, which is really the system our country is operating right now, which means every parliamentarian that is in the parliament, the House of Parliament of Sierra Leone, is not representing constituencies, although they come from districts in Sierra Leone, but these parliamentarians were appointed by their political parties to represent them in the parliament. So which means their number 1 priority is to make sure They go in line with what their political party wants the country to be like, which means whatever direction their political party takes, that is the direction the parliamentarians will take, the politicians will take. When we look at that, it also has its pros and cons. But to me, to my personal opinion, it has more disadvantages than advantages. Because when the people are suffering, the people who these parliamentarians tend to be representing, they will not actually pay much attention to the problems that the people are having, because they don't care whether the people like them or not, because they really cannot change them or they cannot replace them within that particular period in time. They will always want to pay allegiance. They will always want to make sure they do not do things that will go against the interests of their political parties. So, Sierra Leoneans, I have asked 4 questions. How do we really show genuine patriotism to our country? Each of us, every one of us in Sierra Leone, is quick to point out mistakes by authorities. And every Sierra Leonean claims or seems to think like that they are the only genuine people. Any other person else is not trustworthy. We lack confidence in each other. We do not trust each other. We believe that in whatever situation you find yourself, you have to do something that is not legal for you to get your way out of it. When and how can we get out of this situation? If we think years back, there have been leaders, presidents that have said things, slogans that have gone into the hearts and minds of people that is affecting us today. When a president of a country says, "Who said then tie cow na dey eat," where you tie the cow or wherever you tie animals like goats, horses, anything that is a ruminant, wherever you tie them, they will eat within that area. And which means, interpreting it in the other way, if we put people in positions of power, that is where they are expected to eat. That eat is really not well defined. They could eat from their salaries. They could also use their positions to coerce people to really indulge in activities that are not legal, to raise funds for themselves. Or people can come in, bribe them to solicit their services. When we look at all of these things, yes, we can blame the leaders or the presidents or whoever said that statement. But what are we doing as Sierra Leoneans if we see that things like that are not correct? Do we continue to do it? We have got some personal experiences when we talk to people out there in Sierra Leone, especially when you have certain things to accomplish or you want to get some services done by institutions. Somebody is going to tell you, if you don't bribe, your project will never move on fast, or if you don't bribe, they will never answer to your questions, or if you don't do this, if you don't do something illegal, you're going to stall in your activities. Why should that be the case? Why should it be the case? Is it everyone in Sierra Leone that has the money to bribe? You go to the hospital, we've seen and heard of instances where people go to hospital, doctors are there. Even if you are dying, if you don't have money to give, you will not be attended to. Why do we have to be so wicked to ourselves? Why do we have to be so wicked to the poor masses? There are instances where government is paying people their salaries to serve the nation, and then for those same salaries, for those same services, they are taking money from people as bribes to serve these people. So which means I wouldn't call that tips, because whoever you're serving is not taking money out of their pocket to give it to you just because you have done good services to them. They are giving you these monies because they know if they don't do that, their demands or their interests or their goals will not be met. When are we Sierra Leoneans going to really sit and reflect on our individual attitudes and decide to change? We cannot continue to blame leaders, presidents, prime ministers, or ministers, permanent secretaries, paramount chiefs, anybody in authorities. We cannot just continue blaming them. We ourselves that sit around these people help to corrupt them too. So we have to first reflect on our activities, our attitudes, our actions, and make sure when we are around these leaders, we give them the right advice. Do not be afraid to speak the truth to any authority. You're not challenging them, their authorities. You're not trying to say anything negative against them, but tell them the truth. If they do the wrong thing, tell them. If they do the right thing, praise them. When we are afraid to speak the truth, then justice will never be served. We have heard of people complaining on the media, behind closed doors, things that they have endured, that they are suffering from injustices, and there is nobody to talk on their behalf. We have instances, especially for this particular example, I will have to mention the United Mine Workers Union in Kono District that are representing employees that work for the Kwedu Limited mining company. They have been crying over almost a year now for justice. They are being robbed of their salaries. They are paying them 650,000 leones or 650 leones for every $100 United States dollars. They have complained and complained. They have raised their voices. Everybody has cried out, but nobody is ready to listen to them. They have gone to every level of the government. If I should mention some of them, they have talked to the Vice President, they have talked to the Inspector General of Police, they have talked to the Minister of Labor and Social Services, they have talked to the First Lady of the country. Each of these people holds a very important position in the country. But that problem that the employees have is like a perpetual problem. It's never being solved. I also would mention the Parliament of Sierra Leone, who also called on the case that is trying to, they're trying to make sure that they also look into the case and see whether they are going to be able to solve it or not. Whether they will or not, nobody knows. But again, my message to Sierra Leoneans, we should love our country more than we love our political parties. I would beg to continue this message in our lingua franca, in Creole, so that our general masses will understand what I'm trying to say. Famble them on a good evening, on a good morning, on a good afternoon. This na David Bongo de Cantona from Kono News Network. I don ask 4 question dem. Dem 4 question dem, e get I no get the answer to dem question dem dey. Na we the Sierra Leoneans dem go get for answer dem questions dem dey. How we go show love for we country? Dem one wey dey work for the government, wey dem call civil servant, how dem go able show love to the people dem wey dem dey serve, wey dem no go able ask money for bribe dem for let dem serve the people dem, because government dey pay dem for that same service day. How we go able make we judiciary e become independent? Dis na something wey dey affect we country. We judiciary, most of the time, any party come inside, na that party dem dey support. How we go able make that judiciary dey independent? We the Sierra Leoneans dem sef, let we sidon, let we check we habit dem. Boku time, we dey blame president dem, we dey blame ministers dem, we dey blame paramount chief dem, but we dey forget say we sef wey dey sidon around dem people dem dey corrupt dem. We dey go tell dem things dem wey not true. We dey go gossip people dem. The one dem wey dey fight for the justice, una dey go talk about dem. Una dey make let dem intimidate people dem. When people dem grab dem talk the fact, wey dem no dey curse person, dem no dey attack person authority, dem people dem wey dey stake dem neck out for talk on behalf of the people dem wey dey suffer, dem na the enemies of the country. The one dem wey dey corrupt no like the people dem wey dey talk true. So we Sierra Leoneans dem, we sef na part of the problem. We are part of the problem because we dey see true, we dey hide am. We politicians dem no care, because according to the system wey we get right now, na proportional representation na we get. So whether you elect dem or not, na dem political parties dem appoint dem for go na parliament. The people dem just vote, but dem no vote for any individual person. Dem vote for political parties. So dem number one allegiance na to dem political party dem. But wetin me dey say na today, dis news media, corner news network, I dey make let every politician, every civil servant, una know say una actions dem na dem dey make salon go before, na dem dey make salon go bien, and na dem dey make no progress, no development no kind of we country. Let nobody no fool himself. No white man no get for come make we country. No other national no go come make we country. If we wey get we country not sorry for we country, the country no go make. We go complain and complain and complain. In the next 100 years, if na so we attitude dey, the country no go go before. So this message na for every Sierra Leonean. This message na for you wey dey lis ten to me. Let you understand say salon ain't go one before, e dey na you hand. Salon ain't spoil one, and go one bien, e dey na you hand. Let we stop violence. Let we stop injustice. The bulk of the matter, all I go lay under we president in foot. We president need for speak out when something go on wrong. We know say yes, e don appoint people dem at different institutions dem for talk on im behalf. But when e see say the people dem wey e don appoint for do the work, if dem no dey do the work, make e talk about that. I go tell me company dem all thank you, wey we all dey fight for justice na Sierra Leone. Particularly so, I go tell KMMRP thank you, Kono Mineral Mining Review Project. I go tell executives of Kono organizations wey na ECHO, I go tell dem all thank you. Make we no tire for fight. We know say the fight wey we dey fight na a genuine fight. Sierra Leone must develop. Sierra Leoneans for change their attitude. Let we get a positive mental attitude for we country. Let we make sure say we country no matter wetin happen, let we love we country and put am before. If we see mistakes dem wey dey happen in our country, let we help for solve dem problems dem dey. Let we not be part of the problem, let we be part of the solution. I want to tell everybody thank you. Again, I want to tell KMMRP thank you, PECO thank you, and ECHO executives of Kono organizations, Kono Advocacy Network, boku Kono organizations that work together for push Kono go before, for push Sierra Leone go before, and you wey dey watch me today, be part of the solution as Sierra Leone, not be part of the problem. This na David Bongbo, the cantor now from Kono News Network. I want to tell you all thank you. Bye bye.